Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Welcome to day 14, Better Late Than Never. I just wanted to wrap up the Summer Scrapping Series, and today my day 14 guest is Claire. So she had her video up last week, so please go check out her channel and her page. It's super cute. I think you'll really like it. So today is also my last day for the Just Nick design team. I have stepped down from the team. I just got so much else going on, but I love using Nicole's cut files. And this one is called the Sunburst Background 2. It's either Sunburst or Starburst. I think it's Sunburst. And so I'm using these Starbursts over a piece of pattern paper that has circles on the background, and I am sizing the insides of the Starbursts, the larger ones, to fit over the circles on the background paper. So here is the background paper I'm going to use, and I went through with my ruler and I measured the circles, and so I positioned them on my Silhouette Design Studio there so that the insides of the cut file were the same size as those circles. And I had this idea, and it doesn't really work out, so I'm still going to show you. I had this idea to do some mixed media in the background and cover up some of the circles so that they stand out better against the mixed media. So I just took a piece of like copy paper, printer paper, and I traced circles that were about the size of the circles on the background paper. And I'm going to cover them up, and then I'm going to do mixed media over the top of them so that when I remove these little pieces of paper, the circles are supposed to, stand out better. So I'll walk you through what I did here. So I'm just putting them down with a little bit of a tape runner, just a tiny bit of adhesive. And I'm going to put gesso right over the top of them because I don't want them to like lift up when I'm going over them with a brush. So I thought if I put the gesso on top of them to start, and kind of wipe off the edges, they'll kind of stick down. So this is working actually pretty good. So the technique works good, but the results aren't just what I expected. But so I just wanted to tone down the other circles for a little bit, and I had envisioned doing something with like taking these little pieces of paper off and then stitching over these circles to highlight them, and really having the circles be one of the focal points of the page. So I am taking some colors here, just some seafoam and some teal, and I wanted to do some seafoam and teal towards the bottom because this is a page, kind of like a swimming page, and so I wanted to do kind of watery colors at the bottom and then the sunburst at the top. So I'm going to use some yellows and peaches and pinks at the top of the page. I wanted to let that dry a little bit before I added too much of the peach and the yellow because I didn't want it to get muddy. So I don't really overlap the peach with the blue too much. And I just dab that off a little bit. You can see kind of in the bluish area, that kind of dark streak, that's where I didn't really cover the background very well with gesso, and it has kind of seeped through the paper a little bit, but that will dry and kind of go back to a lighter color. So I added a few dabs of yellow here and there, and then some splatters. And I find that the Heidi Swap, the mustard color, is a little bit too orange sometimes. I need a better yellow, so I use this old Glimmer Mist. So I take off these papers, and like I said, I liked this idea, but it just wasn't the stark effect that I wanted. I really thought that the circles were going to like really pop off against the other circles, but they didn't. So you can't even really tell that I had covered those circles up. I guess if I had done some heavier mixed media in the background, you might be able to tell more, but anyway, it is what it is. So you can see I'm taking off these sunbursts that I cut, and I cut a whole bunch of different ones because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with this cut file. I knew I wanted to have at least one sunburst up there in the corner over the yellow because that was kind of the inspiration, the circles with the sunburst, and I thought having that behind my picture would be cute. And it's kind of like where the sun is in my photo is exactly where the sunburst is in the background. So I kind of liked that. And I liked this idea of staggering a whole bunch of these suns around, but I had only cut 4 of them. And I tend to work in odd numbers. I like the look of odd numbers more. I'm not sure why, but and then I thought maybe I could, that one on the top that I could cut in half and kind of put it in the bottom, but it wasn't going to fit. So I decided to keep working with another idea I had, and that was to cut this piece of pattern paper. This is from the 6x6 paper pad. I also have this. I have all the papers in 12x12 and the 6x6 pad. So I cut out a whole bunch of these waves, and I loved the black kind of outline of the waves, and I thought that looked super cool. So I just cut out a few strips, and this is not what I had intended at all for this page. Like I said, I was trying to focus on the circle design, and that kind of goes to the wayside here. So I'm going to back my photo with a couple pieces of pattern paper, and I use a dark one and then a lighter one to kind of pick up some of the colors in the background. And so I decided to start playing around with this design instead and having these kind of waves at the bottom. I'm going through the die cut pack, just picking out some things, and what I'm doing is everything I'm putting all the way over to the right are things I definitely will not use on this page, and then the things I'm putting in the middle are kind of things I might use. So I kind of sort it out with that criteria, and then go back through and resort again, going through all the things I thought I might use and seeing where I can put them on the page. These die cut packs, by the way, lately it just seems like they are a lot of the elements in them are like rectangular or square, like phrases and tags. I want more like shapes, like the leaf I put on there. It just seems like a lot of these, especially the Maggie Holmes ones, or not just Maggie Holmes, but like a lot of the crepe paper ones are big shapes and cards, and I just wish they had more, I don't know, organic shapes in them. But anyway, that's what they have the stickers and the chipboard for, I guess. So I pulled out a little chipboard bathing suit and a couple other tags. And then I thought that maybe I wanted to bring in a little bit more color, and that I wanted to paint this sun with yellow to kind of pick up on the yellow that's on the background paper. So I just sprayed some mists on my little mat here. By the way, this mat is just a cheapy dollar store cutting board. They come in 2 in a pack, so 2 for $1. And I like using these for paints or whatever, and then when they get really yucky, I mean, I do wash them, but when they get really yucky, you can just throw them away. So I paint that, and I put it on, and it's just too yellow. So it's okay. So I leave it there for a little bit because I'm not sure about it. And I go back to the white. I kind of like the lighter look. So I wasn't happy with how dark the other one came out. So again, I'm playing around with these circles, kind of going back to my circle idea. Do I want to, play around with that again? I'm feeling like this is kind of like simple. I like the waves and I like the sun, but I feel like I needed a little bit more. So I went to my washi tape stash, and I thought, well, maybe I will add a little bit of washi underneath these waves to bring in a little bit more blue. And I found a whole bunch of different color of like teals and kind of a light blue washi tape. And this washi tape I love has like gold foiling on it. I have no idea where I got it. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to add different strips of washi tape underneath each of the waves. By the way, somebody commented on a video of mine a couple weeks ago saying that they wished I zoomed in a little bit closer so you could see more details when I work. So I did. So I've lowered my camera about 4 or 5 inches, and I can see that I have cut off the bottom of my design. I guess I just got to move all of my workspace up a little bit. But I am curious to hear what the rest of you think about having it zoomed in more like this. Or, I mean, it may not look that much different than my other videos, and as you can see, I'm not used to working. I've got to work up higher so that you can see the whole page, but I'm curious to what you think about my positioning, and if you like it closer, you like it further away so you can see more of the junk on my desk. Okay, so I got the washi tape down. I got the waves over the washi tape. I like that a lot. I'm going to start going through some of the other little elements, the chipboard, and just adding some things around here and there. I add a couple like phrases to each of the waves and stickers. So this photo, by the way, was kind of our last summer hurrah. It was an unexpected, very warm weekend in September, and we had already been back to school and stuff, but we went up to the cottage for one last time, and we had a great time. The water was still very warm. It was super nice. So this is going to be about our last summer weekend. So I'm going to try something else with these sunshines. I thought perhaps doing some gold foiling would be nice. So I added some Thermoweb Deco Foil adhesive, which is just a liquid adhesive, and I just rubbed it over the entire surface of the sun. Not this sun that's here in the picture. I put it over to the side to dry. So that's drying a little bit until it gets tacky, and then I'm going to put some gold foil over it. And I wanted to pick up on the gold foil and the washi tape, and then the gold foil, the gold glitter leaf. So that's why I thought maybe doing the sun with a gold foil would be nice. So I went through a couple of my other older crepe paper summer collections, and this title Summer I think came from either the Poolside collection or the Pier. I can't remember which one. It might be Poolside. But I loved how the yellow in the word summer picked up the yellow at the top of the page. So I added a couple other another yellow like label at the top too to kind of tie in some more yellow. And I'm making a little cluster over to the right of my photo. And I kind of go through all my little bits here for quite a while because just trying to find the perfect thing to go. And like I said, I was feeling like it was a little empty. So I was trying to find little things to stick in here and there. I'm going to add a little piece of washi tape to the top. Now I picked this piece of washi tape. It has little anchors on it because the black outline of the waves in the bottom I felt were kind of strong at the bottom of the page, and I didn't have any like black or darker elements at the top. So adding a little bit of that washi tape with the black in on the corner is kind of helps pull up some of the black to the top of the page. So I was disappointed with the very dark yellow sunburst. Good thing I cut out a whole bunch of these because I try a whole bunch of things with all these different extra ones I have. And I decided to go through and I painted another one a much, much lighter yellow. And I like that one better. I think I've put it off to the side now because I had just painted it and it was drying. So I just went over it with a very, very light coat of yellow watercolor, and I like that one better. So now it's time to start gluing some stuff down. I like how things are laid out. I'm going to glue these waves down, and I know I'm going to stitch over them, so I have to take off some of the chipboard because I didn't want to stitch right over it. So I stitched over the waves, and I also stitched in the circle where the sunburst is going to go. Just that yellow circle. I went back and forth lots of times with some yellow thread, and I love the texture that adds. It's such great texture. That would be so fun to do on this whole... Actually, that would be so cool to do, like just tracing some circles on a piece of paper and then going, ooh, that's a good idea. I might try that. Anyway, I love what the stitching added. So stitched, I glued the chipboard stuff down. Gonna arrange all this little cluster around my photo now. I went through and edge distressed the photo. I'm gonna add a few more splatters of mist because I wanted some more blue down the bottom and some more yellow at the top. And then I felt that the design was very heavy in the middle and the edges of the page were kind of boring. So I just wanted to add a little bit more interest to the edges of the page. So I'm going to tear off strips from each edge, and I'm going to mount the whole thing on a piece of white cardstock, which also helped kind of, it wasn't warped too bad, but it was a tiny bit warped around the edges, so that helped kind of make it more flat when I secured it to the white cardstock. And like I said, just a teeny tiny edge, and there it is. So I need to actually start gluing the rest of this down, and I'm using my liquid glue, and I get everything else glued down. So now I'm going to go back to this other sun that I had thought about adding gold to, and this is the one I added the Deco Foil liquid adhesive to. And I'm just taking a piece of gold foil and I'm burnishing over it with my fingers, and you can see the design coming out there. And it comes out so pretty, and it's beautifully foiled. There are some spots that are kind of missing, And I add it to the page, and I like it, but I don't love it. The gold, I think, just overpowers that part of the page. So I decided just to go back and use the kind of lightly yellow tinted sun and just have, because it also picks up on the yellow of the title too, and like I said, I thought the gold was too overpowering. So I'm just going to soften the edges of my photo a little bit here by adding some Thermoweb mixed media lightweight sheets. I ripped it too small initially, so I'm adding little bits around the edge just to kind of make it stick off just a little tiny bit. And I love doing that to my photos to soften up the edge. And then I don't really do too much more to the page. I went back and added some enamel dots just to kind of pick up on the watery color. So I put some enamel dots on. These are from all different packs of enamel dots. They're different shades of light blue. I'm going to scatter those around, and that's about it. I do add a little title that says the last above where it says summer weekend, so that the title of my page is the last summer weekend. And there's the finished page. Oh yeah, I also added a little gold heart at the top, a little clip to kind of pick up some more of the gold in the foil and stuff. A couple close-ups, and that wraps it up for the summer series. Finally, I can't believe I went through 14 days. It was a lot, but so much inspiration from the other ladies. I want to thank everybody so much for joining me for this series, and I might have a little surprise coming up in relation to more summer scrapping, so stay tuned for that. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good one. Stay scrappy.